Wheel pit, that's where the original water wheel stood, and then they put a water turbine in there later on. Both the wheel and the turbine drove that line shafting at the top there, and all the machinery was driven off the line shaft by leather belts. You can see one on the circular saw, and we'll see those working a bit further through. Now, as mentioned outside, when we first opened in the 1830s, we were making the big bobbins that went off to the textile and cotton mills to actually spin and weave the thread, so your industrial bobbins, and that's what this is here. This is what we call a three-piece bobbin. The central cylinder and the two ends are separate pieces, and they'll be glued together at the end of the process. Now, the reason you make smaller bobbins from bigger pieces of wood is because of the process called blocking. So what they do is bring each log in, they would chop it into lots of thin slices like that, and each one of those is called a cake. It's a bit disappointing if you got that for your birthday, but that's what it's called. And from that cake you could then block out lots of little cylinders of wood, like these little blunt bobbin shapes, and that's what this machine here is for. This is what we call a double blocker minute, so very fast. The worker would sit here, you put his cake in there, brings that saw down, cuts in, and the bobbin drops out the bottom. You keep going around, putting as many bobbins out of each piece as you go, trying to be as efficient as possible. As the steam comes into there, it pushes the piston arm, the piston drives this flywheel, and then you've got a canvas belt on there, which will be driving the line shaft we saw next door. Now, as I said, this is a small steam engine really. The ones in the cotton and textile mills were much bigger than this. But this flywheel is still about 2 tons of solid cast iron, and that'll be spinning around once a second when this mill was operating. So it's a big heavy piece of metal spinning at high speed. It's always a dangerous direction. And the faster they go, the more the weights start to move outwards by centrifugal force. Now, as they move out, they lift this little metal arm here. That twists that long metal rod, and at the end of the rod there's a valve that's just on top of the box with the nameplate on there. Now that valve gets pressed down as these weights move outwards, and that shuts off the steam that goes into that cylinder. So basically, the faster the machine goes, the more it takes away its own source of power, and that means it has to slow back down again. So very clever, really, quite simple, really ingenious.
Like this. And really just removing all the excess wood at this stage, so the shape and size doesn't need to be too precise, and that makes this a very quick process.
that be left turning about and knocking everything together. So it's not good.